My name is Paige, and I'm 26 years old. My husband, Sota, is 1 year older than me and is 27. We've been married for 3 years now, and we're finally having our first child together soon. And after a long and grueling 9 months, I gave birth to a set of twin boys. They're about to turn 6 months old soon. This was obviously my first time giving birth, so there were a lot of things I was worried about. But Sota has been very cooperative this entire time, and I've been able to focus on taking care of myself and raising my kids. However, I still have to take care of everything around the house by myself while Sota is at work during the day. Being a mother and a full-time housewife at the same time isn't very easy, but I'm still hanging in there, mostly because my 2 sons are so adorable. But recently there's been something that's bothering me, and that is... Yes, hello?
Hey, Paige, why did it take you so long to answer your phone? Were you trying to ignore me or something?
Hey ma'am. No, I wasn't trying to ignore you. I was just...
I don't want to hear your excuses, all right? From now on, you better answer the phone right away when I call you, all right?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that. I was just feeding my twins, and I had to clean my hands before I grabbed my phone, you know? This person here is my sister-in-law. She's my husband's older sister. Her name is Yukino. She's been causing a lot of trouble for us lately, and I don't really want to have to deal with her anymore. She calls us pretty frequently, and every single time I answer the phone, I end up having to listen to her talk about things that have been going on in her life for hours. I've got twins I need to look after, and I am busy already, but she doesn't seem to care about that. She's 6 years older than my husband, and because their ages are so far apart, she absolutely adores her brother. She's been obsessed with him since they were both kids, and Sota and I first started dating 5 years ago. She would always complain about how I was being a distraction for him and how she wasn't able to see her brother as much as she wanted to because he was always so busy hanging out with me. Yukino and I didn't see each other that often when Sota and I were only dating, so her complaints didn't bother me that much, but recently Yukino got a divorce with her husband, who she was with for 7 years, so I guess she just wants someone to talk to. She probably calls me every day because she feels lonely in her home.
You really need to start studying harder to become a better mother for your 2 sons, you know. If you don't, my brother is going to get tired of you and throw you away.
What? But Sota would never do something like that to me. He's not the kind of person to...
You don't understand, do you? Men are simple creatures, and when they get tired of someone, then they stop loving them and caring for them. If you don't want to end up like me, you better start figuring your shit out.
But Sota isn't like other men, though. He's kind and caring, and he's always willing to help me out whenever I'm struggling with something. If I ever run into any trouble while raising my kids, I'm sure he'll come and help me out instead of outright abandoning me.
Well, my husband used to be like that as well, but people change, you know.
But I don't think Sota will, though. I've known him for more than 5 years now, but he's always been like this, and...
Why are you pretending like you know more about Sota than me? I've known Sota my entire life, all right? This isn't even a fair competition.
There are a million things I would like to say to this woman, but she's never willing to listen to me, so there's no point in trying to fight back against her. I'm just going to go along with what she's saying and try to end the call. Well, thank you for your warning. I'll keep that in mind. I thought I was going to be able to end the conversation there, but Yukino was just getting started. I guess our conversation reminded her of the divorce that she just went through, and she started screaming nonsensically over the phone.
God, I am getting pissed off just thinking about that asshole. Who does he think he is, huh? He wasn't even willing to sit down with me and try and solve the things that were bothering him. He just demanded me to sign the divorce papers, and that was it. We were together for 7 years, and he didn't even bother to have a proper conversation with me. I don't know what his problem is.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You've told me this a million times already, but did you get everything off your chest now?
But anyway, this is exactly why you have to pay more attention to how your relationship is going, all right? You have to constantly be aware of how you're making my brother feel and make sure that you don't upset him too much. That way your marriage will be able to continue without your husband trying to put an abrupt end to it.
Well, yes, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for the helpful advice. That's right. This woman still thinks that the reason her husband left her was because he was too sensitive. She thinks that her relationship would have went more smoothly if she had paid more attention to how she was making her husband feel on a day-to-day basis, but I don't agree with that assessment at all. I know her husband, and he's a very kind and forgiving person. The real reason he left her was because he got tired of having to deal with Yukino's selfish attitude and behavior every day. things were getting to a point where she was causing trouble for the people around her, and that's when her husband knew that he wasn't going to be able to repair their relationship. He warned her many times that he was going to have to leave her if she didn't take a long look at herself and change her behavior. But Yukino was convinced that she wasn't doing anything wrong, so she never ended up changing her ways. And that's why she's all alone now. It isn't because her husband was an intolerant person or because he was too sensitive. And by the sound of it, Yukino still hasn't learned her lesson yet. I don't know if she's ever going to get married again, but if she does, she's bound to end up making the same mistake again.
What subject do you think I should study next?
Didn't you say a few weeks ago that you started studying human psychology? You're not done with that yet, are you?
Oh, that? Well, I quit studying that subject because I realized that it wasn't really for me. I couldn't understand what the textbook was trying to say, so I just gave up halfway through. And besides, it sounded pretty pointless, so...
Oh, I see. But didn't you buy a bunch of textbooks for it? You also enrolled yourself in a tutor program for the subject, right?
Well, yes, but I gotta cut my losses at some point, right? It just wasn't for me.
Okay, well, I guess that makes sense. Yukino is addicted to trying out and learning new things. Before she studied psychology, she was learning Pilates from an instructor. Before that, she was into botany, and I think she was even taking scuba diving lessons at one point. Oh, and after trying guitar for a few weeks, she immediately gave up on it. But anyway, Yukino and I were talking like this over the phone for a couple of minutes when... Oh, sorry guys, Mommy's right here. Everything's all right.
Hello? Are you even listening to me? Hello? Where the hell did you go?
I'm sorry, but I have to go. I need to take care of my twins now, so I'll talk to you again soon.
Huh? Wait, I still have more things I want to say, though, and you never answered my question.
It sounded like she wasn't done talking yet, but I can't waste any more of my time talking to her. I've got better and more important things I need to do, so I guess I gotta thank these two for waking up from their nap just at the right time. But man, having to deal with Yukino on a daily basis is such a pain in the ass, and I don't know if I can do it anymore. Her calls are becoming a huge burden for me, and I wish she would just stop bothering me every day. I'm so glad she doesn't have kids, because if she did, I am 99% sure that they would turn into monsters. The reason she didn't have any kids with her husband, despite being married for 7 years, was because...
I don't really want any kids right now. I'm still young, and I want to focus on taking care of myself, you know.
And before they knew it, 7 years had already gone by, and at that point it was too late for them to start making kids together. Yukino still thinks that she still qualifies as young, but she's in her 30s now, and I doubt she'll find anyone that's willing to put up with her selfishness. She's a self-centered person, and being with her is more like a chore than a privilege. And she's been spending a lot of money on things she doesn't really need, like scuba diving lessons or an acoustic guitar that she doesn't touch anymore. She already spent most of the money that she got from her husband in their divorce settlement, so I'm not really sure how she's putting food on the table right now, to be honest with you. She's probably living off her savings, but I wonder what she's going to do when that runs dry. I'm kind of worried about her future, if I'm being honest. And that's not because I want her to be happy. It's because I don't want her to come to us and ask for financial help when she loses the means to pay her bills. I woke up early in the morning after receiving multiple calls from Yukino. What does she want now? She better be calling me for a good reason or I am going to flip out on her. But when I saw the messages that she had sent me, I couldn't help but roll my eyes in amazement.
Hey, guess what? I know what I'm going to be studying from now on. I'm going to learn how to raise kids. I already bought 10 books on the subject, so I'll be an expert in childcare in no time. Oh, and don't worry, I'll make sure to share everything I learn with you, so this is good news for you as well. But man, I am so excited to learn more about what it takes to be a good mother, because you're coming along with me for the ride.
God, can you stop texting me? You just woke everyone up. Do you even know what time it is? It is 6 a.m. in the morning. Why the hell are you up so early? But, man, I can't believe she's going to try and learn about childcare next. I hope this doesn't end up backfiring on her, but...
I bet that's my sister again. Is she bothering you again?
Well, yes.
What does she want now?
She's just trying to tell me that she's going to start studying about childcare now.
What? That's ridiculous. What's she thinking? You know what? I'm gonna call her later and ask her to stop bothering you.
Thanks, honey. I would really appreciate it if you did that.
I'm really sorry about my sister, Paige. You can ignore her if you want to, alright? You don't have to reply to her every single time she sends you a message.
Sure, I'll try my best not to let her bother me anymore. I can't believe Soda and Yukino are actually siblings. They're not similar to each other at all. But anyway, I married such a kind and caring man. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have Soda in my life. Yukino kept on calling me over and over again that day, but Soda told me that I should ignore her, so that's exactly what I did. I also had to take my 2 sons to the hospital for their monthly checkup, so I didn't have time to respond to any of her texts. Then suddenly, while I was in the hospital with my 2 sons, my phone started ringing. The next morning, I was expecting a wake-up call to the sound of Yukino sending me a million messages a second, but everything was quiet. Yukino didn't text me at all while I was asleep. Wait a minute. Is she finally bored of trying to reach out to me? I celebrated this immense victory and poured myself an expensive cup of tea before putting my sons back to bed. But that's when I heard someone knocking on our front door. Huh? We're not supposed to receive any deliveries today, are we? I went over to the Ring monitor to see who was at the front door, but that's when I saw this person through the screen. You've got to be kidding me. Yep, it was her again. Yukino was back. Yukino? What can I do for you?
Just come and open the door for me.
Okay, I'll be right there. Hey, Yukino, long time no see. What can I do for you today?
I'm just here to hang out and have a conversation with you.
Oh, really? Well, what a pleasant surprise.
Huh? Wait, why the hell are you dressed like that? Are you still in your pajamas? You do know that it's 2 p.m. already, right? I know you're a full-time housewife, but you should pay more attention to how you present yourself, you know.
Well, I've been really busy taking care of my kids today, so I didn't have time to change.
Yeah, but you're still young, just like me, so you should wear fancy clothes and put on makeup every day. You'd look prettier that way.
Well, you're right, but right now I just don't have the time to do that, you know? And besides, when you have kids, it's important to wear clothes so that you can move around comfortably in. If I wear anything fancy, my kids will just end up tearing it apart. She should have called or messaged me beforehand if she was going to come and visit us today. She can't just come here unannounced and lecture me on how I should present myself. I was getting closer and closer to my tipping point when Yukino said this to me.
Huh? Whoa, what the hell is this? This place is a complete mess.
Huh?
I can't even move around freely in this room. What's with all this stuff on the floor?
Oh, those are the toys that my sons were playing with earlier. I was going to clean everything up when you came and knocked on the door, so my sons are able to crawl now and they grab anything they can get their hands on. It's really a pain in the ass to clean up after them every day.
I think you're being too easy on your children, Paige. It said on the book I'm reading right now that you should always maintain a cleanly environment when you're raising a child. It's not good for their development when everything is all over the place.
But
you really need to put more effort into raising your children, Paige. You only get one chance to raise your child, so you should make sure that you're doing it properly. It's also said in this book about childcare that...
Okay, I get it. Your book has a lot of information in it. That's great. But have you ever tried raising a pair of twins before? It's nearly impossible to keep your house clean at all times when you have 2 6-month-old children that don't care about the mess they leave behind.
Shut up. I am giving you some important advice right now, so you should shut up and listen to me.
But that's not... I wish she would just go home. I can't deal with this monster anymore. But that's when I heard my 2 sons waking up from their naps. I thought they would start crying immediately, but seems like they're in a good mood right now. After rubbing their eyes and doing a quick little stretch, they grabbed a toy that was lying on the floor near them and threw it towards Yukino. The toy hit Yukino in the leg, and she let out a whimper.
Ow!
That's a home run. Good job, son, is what I would like to say, but I have to make sure I don't piss Yukino off too much. Hey, guys, we don't throw things at people, all right? I pretended to scold my kids in a soft tone, but Yukino wasn't satisfied by that and said this to me with a very stern look on her face.
This is what I'm talking about, Paige. You can't yell at them like that when they're only 6 months old.
What?
I said you shouldn't scold and yell at them like you just did when their brains are still developing. It's not good for their emotional growth.
What is this woman saying? I was dumbfounded by what Yukino said and couldn't find the right words to respond to her with. But Yukino's lecture wasn't over yet.
This is also another thing I learned from the book I've been reading recently. The author of this book is a very well-known expert in the field, and she says that the most important thing when you're raising a child is having self-awareness. You have to make sure you're being fully aware of how you're acting in front of your child at all times, and that's the secret of being a good mother. So you can't just yell at or scold your kids like that. Kids are very sensitive, and you're not doing them any favors by forcing them to correct their behavior at such a young age. You're supposed to be their mother, not their teacher. So do me a favor and show them a little more compassion, would you?
What? I'm sorry, but you said you learned all this from a book, right?
Yes, I did. Do you have a problem with that?
Well, that's just the author's opinion, right? It's not an absolute rule that every mother has to follow. We all have different kids with different personalities, so I don't think you should force any mother to raise their kid a certain way.
What? So you're saying that everything that's written in my book is a whole lot of BS?
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. It's just that
Look, it's in this book right here. I brought it here with me because I thought you should read it. There's a lot of things you can learn from it, you know. But man, it's sad that you didn't know these things. I feel bad for your kids more than anything. I can't believe I know more about what it takes to be a good mother than you, and I don't even have any kids. Maybe you should hand your kids over to me. I bet they'd be happier under my care.
God, this is such a waste of time. I can't believe her husband was willing to put up with her for 7 whole years. I need to feed my kids soon, so I wish she would just stop lecturing me and leave. All right, fine then. I'll give her what she wants, and we'll see what happens from there. Time to teach her a lesson. Could you watch over my kids for a couple of hours then? I'd like to clean the house and get all of the chores done before my husband gets back, so...
Of course. Let me see. It says here that when you're taking care of 2 kids at the same time...
But that's when both of my kids started crying. Yukino immediately went over to them and started singing in a high-pitched voice to calm them down, but that just made them cry even louder. I guess they thought her singing wasn't very good. She then grabbed one of my kids and held them in her arm in an attempt to calm them, but, as soon as she brought them up to her face, he grabbed her hair and started pulling on it. She loudly yelled out, "Ow!" and grimaced. Look at her face. My son thought it was pretty funny as well, and he started knocking his feet around. He was repeatedly kicking Yukino in the shin, and Yukino couldn't help but let out another shriek. After putting my son down, she bent over and started rubbing her knees. It looked like she was in a significant amount of pain, but that's when my other son crawled over to her and put his fingers up her nose.
Ow!
Her face became distorted once again, and my sons pointed at her and laughed. I couldn't contain my emotions either and burst out laughing. Then one of my sons grabbed onto Yukino's back while she was bent down and started pulling on her hair again. My other son came over to join in on the fun as well and tried to stand up while grabbing her ears. Yukino was getting attacked from all directions, and it looked like she didn't know how to handle the situation. You might think these attacks don't hurt all that much because they're coming from a bunch of 6-month-old babies, but you'd be surprised how strong they are. And 10 minutes after Yukino started looking after my kids, she came over to me in tears, begging me to take over.
I can't do this anymore. Hey, let go of me, damn it. What is wrong with you? God, what have you been teaching these kids, huh? Why is nothing going well? I'm doing everything the book told me to do, but nothing is working. Why is this so hard? God damn it, I think I hate kids.
She seemed to be completely defeated, so I put the nail in her coffin by saying this. See? There are no rights or wrongs when it comes to raising a child. Every kid is different, so every mother has to find their own approach to childcare that works for them and their kids. You don't have to follow everything that book tells you in order to become a good mother.
But...
And I'm not saying that having the kind of information that's being presented in that book isn't important, but the question that you have to be asking yourself when you're raising a child is, are you doing what's right for you and your child? And this goes for anything in life as well. This isn't just about raising a kid. For example, if you want to build a healthy relationship with someone, you have to constantly ask yourself, are you doing what's right for you and your partner? You have to put yourself in the other person's shoes and look at things from their perspective to get a better idea of what they're expecting and how they feel about you and your actions. And the reason your husband left you isn't because he was being too sensitive or anything. It's because he got tired of having to deal with your selfish behavior every day. It doesn't matter how many books you read. Unless you're willing to change who you are and strive to become a better person, you're never going to be able to find someone that would be willing to put up with you. You have to show your partner love and respect if you want your relationships to not end prematurely.
But
Yukino then walked out of our house in tears, and I never heard from her again. My husband told me that his parents were furious with her after he told them about how she had been bothering us every day. And now she's working as a janitor in a nearby city. When my husband got home from work that day, he thanked me for putting his sister in her place. His parents also expressed their gratitude towards me and told me that I was the reason Yukino finally has a job now. To be honest, I didn't do much. I just stood up for myself and told her how I feel about her. But I'm glad that it was enough to make Yukino rethink who she was as a person. But anyway, I'm going to keep on working hard every day to be a good wife for my husband and a good mother for my kids. Sure, raising 2 kids at once can get really stressful at times, but it's also very exciting and fun at the same time. I just hope that I can keep on doing what's right for me and my family. Huh? Oh, you guys are wondering how the twins turned out? Well, that's a story for another time.
Thank you for watching! What kind of crazy people will we get to see next? Stay tuned for more!